Thank you. It's time to take a look at your money this morning on Good Morning Quad Cities. But first, here's the weekly stock market recap. Looking good. Based on this, the S&P 500 up over 3%, the NASDAQ up just over 4%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average up just over 2%. And you don't need me to tell you this, but inflation is impacting all of us. But how it's impacting us depends on a number of factors. So joining us is our financial expert, Mark Grywacheski from the Quad City Investment Group. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning to you as well. First off, I do want to say a little bit of a shout out to Josh Lamberty. Happy 25th birthday today. But Josh, I don't want to hear about your crisis of turning age 25. When you get to age 50, we'll have that conversation.
Goodness. Love that. Well, and Mark, you've argued that the way that this inflation is impacting us this round is different historically. Why?
It is. In many prior inflationary cycles, you had much more, flexibility to be much more selective in what you bought to help weather that inflationary storm. In many cases, you could simply avoid buying those items that were now at a much, much higher price.
Right.
But the hallmark, David, of this current inflationary environment is its severe impact on everyday basic necessities. Just let's look at this graph here. Over the last 12 months, David, food prices have risen 10.9%, the largest annual increase since 1979.
Oof.
Cost of housing, 7.4%, largest annual increase since 1982. Clothing, 5.1%. Over the last 12 months, gallon of gas, 44.6%.
Wow.
A little bit of a side note here, natural gas used to heat and cool about 50% of all U.S. households, up 30%. And the problem this creates is that it limits your ability to kind of navigate through this inflationary environment. You need to buy these goods and services to provide for you and your family.
Yeah, and so obviously the way that it impacts us depends on what we make. So talk about that.
Well, historically, and this data on this next graph is historical data, but historically, the average American household spends about 47% of its pre-tax income just on basic necessities. So this leaves about 53% of your income to pay income taxes and to cover costs on health care, education, entertainment, many other household items. For high-income households, it drops to around 31%. But as we get closer to that low-income household level, that percentage of income you spend, again, just on basic necessities, look at this jump.
Yeah.
To 82%. But remember, what's the hallmark, the key feature of this current inflationary environment? It's that severe impact on those basic necessities. So that percentage of income spent on basic necessities now gets pushed higher for everyone. And for many of these low-income households, that percentage spent on basic necessities is not 82, it's now 90. 95%. For many households, it's 100%.
Oh my gosh. So how do we navigate this based on our income, especially for those who are nearing that 100%?
Well, for some basic necessities like food and clothing, there is that little bit of flexibility where you can save money. But for other basic necessities like housing, gasoline, natural gas, it's a lot harder to save money. It's not like you can call up your service provider, David, and ask for the cheaper version of natural gas to be funneled into your home to heat it during the wintertime. And if you're one of those households that's already paying 90, 95% of your income, again, just on basic necessities, what happens if you have a family emergency or some type of large expenditure, whether it's on housing or an auto? And what we're seeing now is more and more households are being forced to pull money from their savings account, from their retirement accounts, or to start making their purchases on credit cards. And with interest rates rising as high as they are, many of those credit card companies are now charging you 20%, even more, to carry a balance. And that places even further strain on many of these household budgets.
That are already maxed out.
Exactly.
Oh, Mark, thank you so much, although not great news. But hopefully
Great to see you again as well. Enjoy your week.
You too.